Yes, sirski. I don't know why I said yes, sirski, but hey, how you doing, man? It's been a long time since I could talk to you guys. Boy, Henshin a go-go, baby. What's good, guys? Yoku here. Man, I have not said that in so long, bro. Today, we're talking about Imbibitor Lunae, aka Imagine Dragon, and Fu Xuan, and more than likely Links. But I'm just excited to be like, you guys see, I got a new camera angle and stuff. Like, I did some work while I was sick. Like, I shouldn't have been doing this stuff, but I did it. All right, so today we are talking about, I guess, well, you know what? I don't even want to start the video that way. I haven't recorded a video in so long. It feels like brand new to me, but we're going to be talking about Imbibitor Lunae, once again, aka Imagine Dragon. And with me talking about Imagine Dragon, there are a few things that I want to mention with this character. As of right now, from what we've seen regarding Dan Heng, I think just based off of what we've played in the story, as well as what they've shown in the recent stream for 1.3, this character is cracked. And when I say cracked, I mean there are one of two ways Dan Heng goes about this. Imagine Dragon is going to be mid, and I don't mean mid like, oh, he's subpar, he's you know, just okay, whatever. I mean mid as in there's Zila, right? We consider Zila in S+ territory. And then we have someone like, we'll use Blade for right now. You have Blade, who is a clear S tier character with the potential to go to S+ tier, depending on whatever you equip him with or the team, anything like that. Then lastly, you have something like Jing Yuan, which we can put in A tier for right now. That might change in the future depending on a character like Fu Xuan when we talk about her. So when we're looking at these three characters, Imagine Dragon, Blade, and Fu Xuan. I didn't mean Fu Xuan, I meant Jing Yuan. When I say mid, I mean he's gonna sit right there next to Blade. Again, I'm not saying mid as the negative mid, I'm saying mid as in the middle, if you will. He has the potential to go to S+ territory or just stay in S tier. This isn't a bad thing, and it doesn't necessarily make him anything worrisome. Why do I say he would be in this middle territory, the mid territory? The reason I say this is because Imagine Dragon has a self-infused limiter to his kit. Yes, you can bam, 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 bam. I used up all my skill points, and then I'm gonna mollywop my enemy with some crazy big damage. We've seen in the story, like I said, he's doing 70k off of the max SARS, the max skill that he uses, or even sometimes the two skill that he consumes. He's doing an incredible amount of damage just from the story. And as we know, the story version of the game is not the appropriate quote unquote version of a character. Yes, they might have some skill points or some trace levels that are like level 777, maybe 888. I've never seen them go 888. I've only seen 666 or 777. So we're gonna say they're average, which 777 is pretty average. 666 is average for free-to-play players, most of them. So we get into that territory. We also know, actually, we don't know what his gear set was, right? His relic set. It could have been Musketeer. It could have been the new launch of his Disciple. It could have been a 4-piece Imaginary. It could have been 2-piece anything. We don't know. All we know is it's not the absolute optimal, what we would consider optimal from any kind of theory testers or things of the sort. We know that it's not the most optimal, and he's still outputting damn near 100k off the skill alone. Again, and this is story mode Dan Heng. He did not have a Yukong buffer. He didn't have a Ting Yun buffer. He didn't have a Bronya buffer. It was just straight up him doing damage on his own. You couldn't even control what he did. This limit to his kit being that you need to consume skill points in order to max it out. And from what we've seen in the stream, we know that you can use his ultimate, and the ultimate will give you these coins or tokens that you can use in place or to replace the skill point consumption. That is what is going to make or break him. If we're able to get it to a point where we know he's powerful, so I'm just going to assume that his ultimate is going to be the max stock, right? The max level 140, 150, the max cost for an ultimate. If it is the maximum cost for an ultimate, it is safe to assume he's going to need a lot of energy regeneration rate in order to get this to maybe 3 to a 4-turn ultimate cycle, not including any random kills or being hit or anything like that, which is fine. I think that's fair. I think that's balanced. I think it will make Imagine Dragon powerful, but not so powerful that he becomes the must-pull DPS character. Because when a character like that comes into the game and they're doing close to 100k off of their skill alone for basically free or mediocre investment, that becomes very close to a must-pull territory. What would make him the S+? And this would be the Zila level, if not higher than Zila. Outside of including something like a Bronya or Ting Yun or Yukong, whatever, he needs some form of energy restoration management or energy management. He needs to be able to take this ultimate and then bump it up to a 2-turn cycle, maybe a 2.5 to 3-turn cycle. 3 is the max that I can see him needing in order to maximize that damage every single time. The reason I'm using 3 is because typically in MOC, on average, you're going to clear something within 6 to 10 cycles, 6 to 8 cycles. So being able to dish out this crazy amount of damage after stocking it up every few turns would be insane. You get into the team building aspect. Oh, we need to build this team in order to make it very skill point positive. I don't need anyone else on the team using skill points. I need them generating skill points. I need my Dong Heng at the end of the team so that he can generate 3 skill points minimum per rotation, and then be able to dish it all out in a crazy manner. I also somehow need to be able to make all of my members go at least 2 times within every single turn or every other turn just to maximize the damage. There's a lot of speculation we can do about Imagine Dragon that will make or break this character between an S+ and then an S tier character, but I cannot see someone with this type of kit being anything less than S tier. The problem with Imagine Dragon is that we are now into a point where we've had what, 5 or 6 different banners so far. Most of them have been DPS characters, and we all have DPS characters. If you've been playing this game since day 1.0, you are more than likely equipped with at least 2 moderately built DPS characters to be able to take you throughout all of MOC or get to 10-star at least, very minimum. Most of us can clear it by this point, I'm sure, but it is what it is. Dong Heng coming out as a DPS character, very strong DPS character at that, and then right after Blade, who was just the previous destruction unit, so a lot of us used our destruction materials for Blade, makes it so that pulling Dong Heng is not a necessity. It is the furthest thing from being a necessity, and that is the problem that I have with looking at, oh, who should you pull? Should you get Dong Heng? Should you get Fu Xuan? Which one's more valuable? Honestly, I don't think we are at a point where anyone needs these things, right? A lot of you just pulled Kafka, a lot of you just pulled Blade. If you're coming brand new into the game and you're starting now, yeah, you can pull Dong Heng. I would absolutely recommend you pull Dong Heng as your first or second DPS character. If you're just pulling characters just to pull characters, now you're going to get into a whole different discussion that I love to have, where you are not properly equipping these characters with as much power that they would like. What do I mean by that? I mean their light cones, I mean their gear, their relic systems. If you're pulling characters, there's no way in hell you're pulling every single character, even if you're lucky or not, and you have enough to fully build these characters out from level 75 to 80 max relics, amazing light cones, usually their signature light cones, if not the second best in slot, some S3 to S5 territory. You don't have enough resources. The game just doesn't give it to you, right? And just for his trace materials alone, you need 3 million credits. And then on top of him, for his ascension materials, you need 300,000 credits. You just don't have these to be able to build every single DPS character, every single character that comes out, and keep your team fully equipped. That's the main problem that I have with Imagine Dragon. And again, I'm not saying don't pull, I'm not saying he's bad or anything like that. I think this character is absolutely busted, but I'm saying this in a way of, from my own free-to-play standing, my own free-to-play account, I can't see it. I just spent a lot of time talking about Dong Heng, Imagine Dragon, and now we can move into Fu Xuan. I wanted to really clarify a lot about Dong Heng, right? I wanted to clarify why I feel the way I do and give you guys as much detail as possible so that you understand the perspective that I'm coming from versus like me as a pay player, right? I pay for what I want. So if I want Dong Heng's if Dong Heng's Lycon is cracked, I'm buying it. If he is the new top DPS character, well, I mean, regardless, because I'm making content on him, so I'm going to get him anyway. But point being is that if he was the new cracked out character, I'm buying him. I was going to skip 1.3 because I don't need these characters. And that's really what I'm getting down to, is that since playing the game from 1.0 to now, I just don't need these characters. I have 3 or 4 DPS characters built out. Adding Dong Heng won't make my account any stronger. It'll replace a DPS, sure, but if I'm already not using it, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? If you pulled Silver Wolf, it makes Dong Heng or any other DPS character for that matter irrelevant. It doesn't mean that they're weak. It doesn't mean that they're not worth pulling. It means that if I already have 2 to 4 DPS characters already fully built out or mostly built out, and now I add my Silver Wolf, who is a very strong support character, in my opinion, the closest thing to a must pull in this game, I add Silver Wolf, and now my Silver Wolf is, hey, you have a fire DPS and a lightning DPS. I'm just going to make sure that everything in the game is weak to fire or lightning, depending on what you want to do. Cool. I don't need to get every elemental DPS character in the game. It's nice to have. If you could get it, great, but you don't necessarily need it. So when I talk about Fu Xuan next, it changes the perspective a little bit for different reasons. So now that we're talking about Fu Xuan, what I can deliver about Fu Xuan in particular is that Fu Xuan is a character or a part of a path. It's a part of the path in the game that we have not had one of these yet available for us to guarantee pull. You either have a fully built out March 7th, which, you know, she can only defend so many characters at once. And with her adding aggro, it makes things like Jingyuan or Yang Qing not really worth it when paired with March 7th, at least optimally. You have Japard, who's next. Japard is not pullable. You cannot pull Japard. You would either have to hit your 300 wishes to get Japard, or you would have to get lucky / unlucky and lose or win a 50-50 in the standard banner, or lose a 50-50 in a limited banner, and then you get Japard to be able to use. And Japard right now is one of, if not the best, preservation / tank unit in the game. He's able to solo sustain plenty of teams. He doesn't take away from too many teams. He's great at generating skill points, and he has the ability to freeze enemies, which will add CCing into your actual team aspects. Fire MC, of course, is great, but usually speaking, Fire MC needs a healer attached to him or them, which isn't necessarily always true, right? I just got through speaking with Rihu, and Rihu straight up told me like Fire MC has 50 to 70% of the damage mitigation, which, speaking of damage mitigation, now we can actually get into Fu Xuan. Fu Xuan has the ability to mitigate damage. What does that mean? Mitigating damage just means that you are reducing the amount of damage being done to any one character, or in her case, the entire team. He reduces so much of the damage team-wide, which is basically like giving them an invisible shield, if you will, or putting up a force field, a barrier from Pokemon, if you can think about it that way. It reduces the damage that any one or multiple enemies' attacks would deliver to you. And the crazy part about this is it's not based on like, oh, my shield takes X amount of damage and then it goes away. No, this is just guaranteed for X amount of turns. She's going to give you damage mitigation as long as her force field is up, which her force field only goes away if she's dead. Not only that, but it's also going to increase your crit rate by whatever percentage. It's going to give you extra HP by whatever percentage, and it's going to increase your HP by whatever percentage. Fu Xuan as a character by herself at any blanket level as a preservation character is cracked. What this allows her to do, especially like the force field itself, the crit rate increase, the HP increase, the damage mitigation. I also believe, because the way traces work, she's going to have some kind of crazy thing with her traces. Like that's what I was mentioning about Jingyuan earlier. If Fu Xuan is able to do anything for CC, crowd control, reducing resistances or increasing resistances, anything like that would significantly help Jingyuan. Not only Jingyuan, but plenty of characters who just don't want to be frozen, imprisoned, anything like that. The potential of a character like this is absolutely bonkers. And once again, increasing the crit rate. Now you get into, hey, if I just had a little bit more crit rate, I would not need a crit rate body piece. Now I can replace this with a crit damage body piece or attack percent, you know, whatever you are looking for in this case. It also means that Fu Xuan by herself might have potential to be able to deal or dish out her own damage. We've seen her ultimate, we've seen that it does AoE damage as well. So it's safe to assume this will be doing some decent amount of damage. At least I would hope it does some decent amount of damage. And I can assume that she's going to be built off of either defense or HP, depending on whatever her modifiers are, because that's typically how preservation units work. So when we look at whether or not a player from 1.1 or 1.0 to now would have any other preservation unit, it's very slim pickings. As I mentioned earlier, you either have Japard because you were unlucky, or you use the 300 on Japard. You have Fire MC or March 7 built, which they just don't compare to either of these two characters for self-sustaining units with as much built into their kit that they offer. Fire MC is a great character, but if his shield were just, you know, 50% stronger, 100% stronger, I don't know, if it did like 25% for a shield with damage mitigation for the entire team, great. And I understand that Fire MC has built-in aggro attached to his to their kit, which is fantastic, but you guys get what I'm saying here. Just a little bit more and Fire MC could be right up there with all three of them. And then at that point, you wouldn't need any preservation character, and then they would have made some like cracked out free-to-play MC, and the Hoyoverse just wouldn't do that. I know why they did what they did with Fire MC. They just wouldn't do it. It would not create cells. On the other side of this, we once again look at what other self-sustained characters do exist currently in the game. Locha or Laucha, and then Bailu. Bailu is in the same department as Japard. You either lost a 50-50 or you have the 300 standard pull guaranteed, which a lot of free-to-play players do not have. You also have Locha, which you could have pulled for, or you could have pulled Silverwolf, which is what I spoke on earlier. A lot of people looking at Fu Xuan are looking for the mono quantum element, so they might have Zila already. They might have pulled Silverwolf, and maybe they had enough to get Locha, which means they don't really need Fu Xuan. But if they already knew Fu Xuan was coming, then they're waiting on Fu Xuan. And Lynx is on the Fu Xuan banner, which means that is your full guaranteed mono quantum team, real mono quantum team right there. As an entire sum up about this character, Fu Xuan has put herself in a position to basically be unskippable. If you don't have either of these characters, Locha, Chapard, Bailu, you don't really get the option to skip. And even if you do, you would still theoretically need a second self-sustained character. Fu Xuan's potential to, or rather her pull value, the banner pull value alone is incredibly stacked. It is so much more worth it than Imagine Dragons. And again, I don't say that in a way like, oh, she's so much better, bro. Imagine Dragons trash. Da, 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 da. No, I'm just saying pull value wise, Fu Xuan is way up there just off of everything that we've seen alone, just off how we understand the game, how preservation units work, the potential they have. She could carry entire teams forward. If you just pull DPS characters, you're good to go. You already have your 2 DPS teams, and then you add Fu Xuan. Now your supports are crazy cracked. There's a lot that she can do on top of just defending the team. The damage mitigation aspect alone is worth it, but then adding the max HP, the invisible HP, adding the crit rate boost to the entire team, and the fact that this force field, all of this stuff happens as long as the force field is active. She also heals herself after she loses like 50% HP from what the stream was showing. It's crazy to think about what this character can do on top of everything else that your team can do behind her. So yes, ultimately I do think Fu Xuan is more worth it, or rather has a higher pull value than Imagine Dragon right now. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, you add Lynx into this, and Lynx is a character where I'm just gonna say it, hot take, I think Lynx is on the same level of Locha, if not stronger. 4-star character, easier to get Eidolons. I know that we don't like hunting 4 stars, but still it's typically easier to get these Eidolons than it would be to get a E4 of Locha, for instance, especially cheaper. You look at Lynx's kit, you see that she can heal. She has the Lynx has the thing, the CC thing that I was mentioning earlier. She cleanses. Lynx has the burst heal. She has the cleanse. She has the at the defense and force the aggro. So now Lynx's value for destruction units as well as preservation units skyrocket, because that ability only works on destruction and preservation units. It's crazy to think of the combo potential of certain characters and like how they were built to or designed, I should say, in order to function with X team or X concept or 1, 2, 3, 4 person, whatever the case may be. So to wrap everything up here, honestly, I just feel, as I keep mentioning, Fu Xuan has a higher pull value. I think Imagine Dragon, if you don't have your DPS characters already, stacked, crazy good, absolutely worth the pull. But you really need to look at, and this is like, it's kind of always a thing, right? You really need to look at what currently is on my account. Do I have preservation characters to be able to carry me through the game, or abundance? Do I have any type of self-sustained character? Yes, cool, I've got 1. Do I have a second one? No. Where am I in MOC? Well, I can't really get to 10 yet. I've been stuck at MOC 8 because I just can't beat it. Like my second team maybe gets crushed before I can successfully beat it, whatever the case may be. Well, if you had another DPS character, would that help you? Or if you had another self-sustained unit, would that help you more? Imagine Dragon, again, based off the story, damage is insane. Damage is absolutely bonkers, crazy. I can only imagine the tinkering that us theory crafters are going to be able to do with this character, the testing, and then figuring out, oh yeah, man, if you add him with Slocha, for instance, then he always has 3 skill points to be able to like boom, 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 boom. And so at the end of every turn, he's just gonna annihilate whatever the enemy is. Like that would be crazy to think about. Or using the full imaginary set on him, the 4-piece relic set, where when he attacks a debuffed enemy, it gets increased, I believe, crit damage as well as just regular damage on top of that. Like, damn, dude, that's a lot of freaking extra damage you're getting just for me throwing a debuff on an enemy. Like, oh, I got a Silver Wolf in the back, I have a Pela in the back, boom, there's your debuff right there. Oh, here's an extra 10%, 20%, you're dead. It's really good to think about, if you had more power, could you take something out before it kills you? That's the way that I look at everything when it comes to MOC, to my RPGs, to Pokemon, everything. If I can knock you out before you can knock me out, do I really need defense? Do I really need this much defense? Can I get away with Fire MC shield, right? He can aggro, pull it away, give me some shield, and then just that bit of a shield is enough for me to take the hit and then punch the shit out of you. That's just it. I don't know how else to explain it, guys, but that's gonna be it for me. As you can see, I started this video with no drink and now I have a drink. I don't know why I just promoted Chick-fil-A like that, bro. They're not paying me money. Chick-fil-A sponsor your boy, because you guys, like, they got the lemon. You know, if you order from DoorDash, right, they got the lemonade and then you could add strawberry syrup. So you basically make strawberry syrup. Or strawberry lemonade, not syrup. That's crazy. I've never had strawberry lemonade from Chick-fil-A before, but it's interesting. So I'm gonna go drink that. Guys, let me know if you enjoyed the video. Do leave a like, comment down below. New camera angle
So guess what that means? Just if you made it this far in the video, little spoiler, okay? Guess what it means? Your boy is coming back to streaming, all right? There will be consistent streams coming. Give me like 2 weeks tops, okay? Give me 2 weeks tops. Let me get back into the YouTube mojo. All right, let me start pumping out videos again. Let me figure out my streaming schedule. We're gonna have like certain days that I stream or certain hours, whatever the case may be. And then I'll see y'all a lot more often. I'll figure out whether I'm gonna do it on Twitch or YouTube. I really want a partner on Twitch because it just opens the door for stuff, but whatever. Smell you later. All right, subscribe. I wanna hit 15K. Like the video, share it with your homies, comment down below, engage. I haven't been on YouTube in like 2 weeks. I need the engagement.